Husband and wife Vincent and Sophie opened their own butcher shop, but unfortunately, it wasn't very successful. Their few customers were getting tired of Vincent's strange meat massaging techniques, which made them wait for a long time. One day, a group of animal activists attacked their shop. The group splashed paint and vandalized the property. Vincent chased them off and managed to catch one activist. Vincent pinned him to the ground and tried to unmask him, but the man's friends returned to help. They pushed Vincent and kicked him in the stomach before fleeing. That evening, Vincent and Sophie went to see their friends, Saint Fanny and Mark, and told them the bank had refused their loan application to repair the shop, meaning they might go bankrupt soon. At first, Saint Fanny was sympathetic, but she soon started boasting about how much money Mark was making from his own meat factory. During dinner, Mark bragged about his wealth and success before giving Vincent a gun as a gift. To protect the shop, Vincent hesitated as he didn't have a license, but Mark insisted, demonstrating by shooting an inflatable ring. On the way home, Sophie told Vincent she wanted to leave him because she felt their marriage had become boring. She wanted a husband who could make her feel excited again. However, Vincent wasn't listening. He saw one of the activists cycling nearby. Vincent stopped the car to confront the man. He reversed the car, but accidentally hit him, killing him instantly. Vincent was horrified and wanted to call the police to report it as an accident. But Sophie pointed out that Vincent had been drinking and had an unlicensed gun in the trunk. He could face life in prison. Sophie then recalled a documentary she'd watched the night before and told Vincent to imitate a serial killer who dismembered his victims and scattered the parts around the city. Later, Vincent placed the man's body on the table and began butchering it with his shop tools. He cut the body into large pieces and then smaller ones. Vincent accidentally dropped a nail on the floor, and his dog ate it without hesitation. It then barked with delight. Vincent threw it the other air, and seeing it eat so heartily gave him an idea. After finishing, Vincent went upstairs to the bedroom and found Sophie watching another crime documentary. She told Vincent he couldn't sleep with her anymore because they were now separated. So, Vincent went to sleep on the sofa. The next morning, Vincent woke up late and rushed to the shop. When he arrived, he found Sophie had already sold all the human meat he had butchered, thinking it was ham. Before Vincent could scold her, a customer returned to the shop, praising that his meat was the most delicious she had ever tasted and wanted to buy more. Vincent tried to sell her other types of meat, but she insisted on getting the same ham she had just bought, which made Sophie want to try the new meat as well. She found it was to die for. Vincent told her it was Iranian pork. The customer then asked to buy all of it. After the customer left, Vincent told Sophie the whole truth. She was shocked for a moment before telling Vincent not to throw the meat away, but to try it instead. Vincent firmly refused, but Sophie suggested that he could sell all of it to destroy the evidence. Just then, another customer came in. He was a friend of the previous female customer. She had given him a sample of the ham, and he loved it. The rumor about the Iranian pork spread quickly. Soon, Vincent's shop was full of customers queuing up to buy his special meat. Vincent and Sophie decided to continue selling human meat and started making a fortune. However, a police officer named HS stopped by the shop to buy some Iranian pork as well. The couple grew worried, but luckily HS didn't notice that the meat was human. That night, Vincent tried the Iranian pork for the first time and agreed it was delicious. Sophie then suggested they should hunt more victims to continue selling their special pork. Vincent thought she was joking, but Sophie was very serious. She pointed out that this was the only way to save their shop. The next day, their daughter, Claire, introduced her boyfriend, Lucas, to her parents. Lucas was a vegan, but he respected meat eaters and wasn't a radical like the activists who had vandalized Vincent's shop. He and Sophie didn't mind at first, but they were shocked to learn that Claire had also become a vegan to honor her boyfriend. Lucas refused to eat the mushrooms Vincent made because they were soaked in chicken broth. He also refused the wine, explaining he only drank vegan wine because regular wine is often made from grapes crushed with dead insects. Then, They served cheese and cake, but Lucas refused again because they contained milk and eggs, explaining how cruelly humans treat farm animals. After Claude and Lucas left, Vincent was so annoyed that he finally agreed to kill. The two went to a vegan restaurant, looking for a plump, stress-free victim. They happened to see the restaurant's chef, who was a large man, and they decided to make him their next victim. After the chef finished work, Vincent secretly followed him home, but when the man cried out in surprise, Vincent got scared and ran away. He went back to Sophie, who was waiting in the car, and told her the man was a good fighter, so he had to back off. However, Sophie could tell Vincent was lying. She said that next time they needed to plan and prepare better, before sharing ideas she learned from her crime documentaries. The next day, Vincent and Sophie traveled to another town and pretended to be animal activists. They stood protesting in front of a supermarket. When a man came out to confront them, Sophie argued back using information she got from Lucas the other day. Then, a vegan man approached to praise them and went on a tirade against the food industry, not giving them a chance to speak. So, Sophie yelled at him to go away. A moment later, another vegan man came to talk to them friendly and agreed to meet up to discuss activist group activities. Soon after, the man showed up with two friends. Vincent and Sophie knew they couldn't handle 3 people and were about to flee, but the activists said they were planning to raid a meat processing plant. Hearing this, Vincent immediately agreed, even though Sophie was against it. They were given masks to hide their identities. One of the activists found Vincent very familiar. To divert attention, Vincent and Sophie lied that they owned a flower shop. When they arrived at the factory, Sophie was shocked to find it was Mark's business. She asked to stay outside, saying she would act as a lookout. Vincent joined the activists and started enjoying the vandalism. They set fires and he even urinated on a picture of Mark. After the mission, Vincent and Sophie went to a restaurant. She scolded Vincent for betraying his friend, but Vincent disagreed. He saw large factories like Mark's as the real enemy that caused small businesses like theirs to fail. Vincent ordered a steak, but when he started eating, he felt it couldn't compare to the Iranian pork. Still, Vincent declared he would never kill again. Sophie then insulted him, calling him a coward who only relied on her when Sophie's words made Vincent so angry he almost stabbed her with his fork, but he managed to stop himself. Vincent broke up with Sophie before walking out of the restaurant. Sophie then stayed and talked to the waiter. The two seemed to get along well, as they both loved crime documentaries. The man offered to take Sophie home. When they arrived, the waiter realized Sophie lived in a butcher shop and joked that he had just given a butcher a ride home, which was funny because he was a vegan. The waiter tried to flirt with Sophie, and they ended up kissing, but Sophie bit his tongue hard. Seeing him bleed, she invited him inside to treat the wound. While the young man was in the bathroom, Sophie turned to Vincent and said he might be the next Iranian pork. Sophie described her kiss with the waiter in detail to make Vincent jealous. Furious, Vincent began to sharpen his knives. Sophie was thrilled to see Vincent so angry. However, Vincent paused when he remembered a documentary he had seen about cows. He recalled that if a cow is calm before being slaughtered, its meat will be of much better quality. So, Sophie went to help the waiter relax. She led him to the sofa and began to give him a massage. When Sophie told Vincent to do it, he started to hesitate again. Sophie pressured Vincent by threatening to divorce him if he didn't comply. Vincent walked out of the kitchen but was shocked to find the waiter naked. The waiter thought they were about to have a threesome, which made Vincent even more furious. He beat the waiter so violently that he eventually died. But suddenly, Claude walked into the house unexpectedly. Vincent quickly ran to wash his blood-stained face with water from the fish tank, while Sophie quickly hid the waiter's clothes and corpse behind the sofa. Claude was visibly upset because Lucas had just broken up with her. The reason was that he suspected Claude was secretly eating meat, and Lucas also had a strange belief that a butcher's daughter inevitably has the blood of a meat eater from birth. Claude asked to stay the night and also said she wanted to eat meat from the shop for dinner. Vincent and Sophie were completely shocked. They told Claude to go back and make up with Lucas, to give him another chance. After all, Lucas seemed like a nice person. After Claude left, Vincent and Sophie cleaned the bloodstains in the living room before starting to dismember the waiter's body. As they worked together, their relationship grew stronger again. They dumped the waiter's motorcycle in the river before coming home to sleep in each other's arms. The next morning, Saint Fanny and Mark called Vincent to vent about their factory being completely destroyed. At first, Sophie felt guilty about what had happened, but that feeling vanished instantly when Saint Fanny continued to belittle Vincent's shop as usual. Officer HS came in and explained it was all the work of the same group of animal activists that had previously attacked Vincent's shop, showing them surveillance footage as proof. While Saint Fanny and Mark demanded government compensation, Sophie and Vincent faced a new problem when HS whispered to them, asking for more Iranian pork in the afternoon. Customers lined up in a long queue in front of the shop to buy the pork. Within a few hours, all the meat from the waiter's body was sold out. Sophie promised the customers there would be more stock the next day. That night, Vincent and Sophie broke in and kidnapped the chef from the vegan restaurant, killing him in a bathtub. Although Vincent still seemed a bit hesitant, as time went on, the couple continuously killed vegans using different methods, and Vincent no longer showed any hesitation. He began to enjoy the thrill of the hunt. Every day, their shop got more and more customers, and the more Sophie and Vincent worked together, the stronger their bond became. Eventually, killing became normal for them. One night, they tricked an activist into helping them raid a meat processing plant. As he was choosing a mask, Vincent prepared to strike, but the victim noticed him. He kicked Vincent before running away. The couple then chased him into the woods. Unfortunately, they lost him, and Sophie thought their hunt was over, but just then, Vincent heard something moving in the darkness. So, Sophie took out her phone and called the fleeing victim. When the ringing phone revealed his location, the man panicked and tried to run again, but he fell when Vincent and Sophie went to check. They found the man was already dead. It seemed he had a heart attack from extreme fear. The next day, Vincent and Sophie hosted a special dinner, cooking the meat from the man who had the heart attack into steaks for Saint Fanny and Mark to try. They both admitted the meat was delicious. Their jealousy made them quieter than usual. But then, as Mark was about to take another bite, he found a small piece of metal in it. Saint Fanny immediately recognized it as a pacemaker. Vincent quickly took it away, saying it was just a microchip farmers used to track animals. However, the atmosphere became tense again when Mark and Saint Fanny started making sarcastic remarks about their butcher shop, until Vincent lost his patience. He berated Mark and Saint Fanny mercilessly. An enraged Mark lunged at Vincent. The two fought in the garden, ignoring their wives. In his fury, Vincent pushed Mark into the swimming pool and, without realizing it, bit of Mark's ear. Saint Fanny screamed. When Vincent came to his senses, he immediately spit it out, pretending he didn't mean to eat it. After that incident, Vincent became obsessed with watching animal documentaries. He mimicked the behavior of a leopard, using camouflage and movement techniques to hunt his prey more effectively. Vincent also began to adopt techniques from other predators, such as strangling his prey. Like some snakes do, some nights, after eating human flesh, the couple would feel aroused and end up having sex. One day, Vincent and Sophie went for a picnic in a park and were grilling meat when a man came to complain that the smoke was disturbing his yoga session. Vincent and Sophie pretended to agree and said they would move elsewhere, but in reality, they killed the man instead. Later, the couple attended an animal activist event to look for new victims. Vincent was interested in a chubby kid but was shocked when he found himself thinking about harming a child. At the same time, they ran into Claude and Lucas at the event. Vincent and Sophie then pretended they had become vegans, only selling meat to make a living. Lucas mentioned that many vegans had disappeared and suspected that the culprits might be from farming groups or the Butchers Association. Suddenly, Lucas threw Vincent and Sophie out of the event. calling them butchers. His words were overheard by the activist who had vandalized Mark's factory with Vincent. As they were leaving the event, Sophie noticed a black woman and remarked that they had never tried that type of meat before. Vincent decided to abandon his rule of not killing women and went after her. That night, Vincent was butchering the woman's body when his knife broke. He went to the shop to get a new one and found Officer HS knocking on the door. HS said he was just surprised the shop's light was still on so late. Vincent pretended he was working. Suddenly, his dog emerged from the darkness with a human hand in its mouth. Terrified, Vincent quickly yelled at it to go away. He then turned to HS and said he still had PTSD from the day his shop was attacked. HS then said goodbye to Vincent, but before he left, he mentioned that a large number of vegans had mysteriously disappeared. Vincent went inside and told Sophie about this. He had thrown away the woman's meat and wanted to stop killing, but Sophie disagreed. She said she wanted to break the record of a famous serial killer. Their argument was interrupted by the doorbell. When they opened it, they found Lucas. He came to apologize for being hot-headed at the event. Lucas confessed he felt like he was about to lose Claw. Sophie persuaded Lucas to stay and tried to make him relax. Vincent knew immediately she was planning to kill him. He tried to get Lucas to leave before confronting Sophie, telling her the Iranian pork business had to end now. That night, Sophie turned on a crime documentary again, but felt annoyed and switched it off. Meanwhile, Vincent slept on the sofa with his dog. The next morning, Vincent tried to sell regular meat to customers, but when everyone learned there was no more Iranian pork, they all walked out. Sophie saw Vincent as a coward. But Vincent felt he didn't deserve to be insulted like that after everything he had done for her. That evening, as Sophie was closing the shop, the activists who had raided Mark's factory showed up and started questioning her about the flower shop she had lied about. That night, Vincent came home and found his dog barking at the activist fan. Meanwhile, inside the cold room, the activists had tied Sophie up in the meat freezer. They said they would treat her the same way she treats animals. One man was about to kill her when suddenly, Vincent burst in with his dog. The dog pounced on the man who was about to harm Sophie, biting him and causing injury. Vincent grabbed a knife and threw it at one of the women's head, killing her. He then turned to fight another man, but unfortunately, that man was stronger. Vincent was stabbed with his own knife. Furious, Sophie managed to untie herself. She grabbed a meat hook and plunged it into an activist's face, while the dog attacked the last man, biting his crotch until he fell. Sophie then rushed to Vincent and pulled the knife out. She was relieved to find the wound wasn't fatal. Not long after, a documentary was made about Sophie and Vincent. Saint Fanny and Mark were invited for an interview because their testimony led to the couple's arrest. They explained that after asking farmers about the microchip Vincent mentioned, they found that no farmer used such technology. If it weren't for the pacemaker found in the Iranian pork, Vincent and Sophie would have gotten away with it. They were both sentenced to life in prison, and during the final part of the trial, the judge asked if they regretted their actions. Sophie simply replied that the only thing she regretted was killing the man with the pacemaker. And that's how the movie ends. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you never miss an update. Thank you.